I'm going to start the recording here and let us set our bodhicitta intention. Namo Buddhaya. To liberate all beings from all suffering and to establish all beings in true happiness, I will swiftly become Buddha in this very life. Therefore, I will joyfully practice the Buddha path. I forgot to pull up the practice. We'll do a quick learning practice. Just bear with me here. I'm out of practice. I've been gone for 2 weeks. That doesn't happen very often. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay. Concise learning practice, opening the wisdom eye, arousing pure bodhicitta intention. To liberate all beings from all suffering and to establish all beings in true happiness, I will swiftly become Buddha in this very life. Therefore, I will joyfully practice the Buddha path. Great Son of Wisdom prayer. Namo Buddha, please open my mind. Namo Guru, please awaken my wisdom. Namo Deva, please awaken my compassion. Namo Dakini, please awaken my power. Immeasurable mandala offerings for the true happiness of all beings to each and every Buddha and Dzogchen master. I joyfully offer my body, speech, mind, all merit, all enjoyments, and the vast array of all universes, outer offering, all enjoyments, inner offering, all merit, secret offering, all bliss, absolute offering. May my body, speech, and mind transform into your enlightened body, speech, and wisdom. May all beings swiftly attain the great bliss of awakened omniscience. Sajid Puju Ju Shen Ne Do Dram Ru Ram Len Zhen Ye De Zhen Ba De Sanjay Zhen Du Me Te Pu Wa Yu Tru Kunanda Zhen La Shou Bar Shou Tram Guru Ratna Mandala Putsa Mega Samudra Saprana Samaya. Request for Dharma teaching. Precious Dharma teacher, please bestow upon me the sacred Dharma teachings. Please turn the Dharma wheels of the 9 yanas. May I realize the teachings of all sutras, tantras, and shastras. May I receive the precise teachings to benefit my mind. May all sentient beings realize the peace and happiness of self-arising wisdom. Samchen Nam Chi Sampada Loye Jidra Jitawa Je Chun Tu Monte Baya Juju Kola Kodu So. Essence mantra of interdependent origination. Om Yadharma Hetu Prabhava Hetun Teka Tatagata Hayavada Tekansaya Nirvada Ewambadi Mahashramana Soha. Essence mantra of Prajnaparamita. Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisoha. Recalling the Four Noble Truths of the Enlightened, the first teaching of our Supreme Guide, Buddha Shakyamuni. In the Sutra of the Four Enlightened Truths, the Buddha said, "This is the truth of the enlightened regarding suffering. This is the truth of the enlightened regarding causes. This is the truth of the enlightened regarding cessation. This is the truth of the enlightened regarding the path." The Buddha continued, "This is the need to know suffering. This is the need to abandon causes. This is the need to achieve cessation. This is the need to practice the path." The Buddha concluded by saying, "There is no suffering to be known. There is no cause to be abandoned. There is no cessation to be achieved. There is no path to be practiced." The Supreme Jewel Pile Sutra says, "All that is compounded is impermanent. All that is fallible is suffering. All that is phenomena is emptiness and egoless. All that is nirvana is blissful." Now, please stretch gently and breathe deeply. Relax joyfully and drink a little water. Now, sincerely pray to Buddha, arouse pure intention from your heart, and maintain correct view and conduct in Dharma. Namo Buddhaya. To liberate all beings from all suffering and to establish all beings in true happiness, I will swiftly become Buddha in this very life. Therefore, I will joyfully teach Dharma. All right. How is everybody? Good, good. Good to see you all. Let me just make sure I can see everybody. Yes. All right. Today's topic, I am so happy to be teaching this topic. Some of you may have heard it before. Some of you may not have. And this is a wonderful topic, one of our very best workshop style topics, something that's very useful, very practical, and one of my favorite teachings. I haven't taught it in a very long time. So I'm really excited today to be introducing the 4 accumulations of the 12 wisdoms. The 4 accumulations of the 12 wisdoms. This is a 4-part teaching. I think I'll just focus today on the very first one, which is the accumulation of the wisdom of self-confidence. I think the wisdom of self-confidence is a wonderful place to start. Buddha Shakyamuni knew, of course, with his omniscient wisdom, that if we're going to help others, we need to help ourselves first. There is no other way to go about it. It just doesn't work if we try to fill others' cups when our cups are empty. And, the old saw about putting on your own oxygen mask first, it always has to happen that way so we don't pass out while we're trying to help the next person. And really, we always start with any practice where we want to engage in more compassion, more love, by practicing those things for ourselves first. And so let me give you a little bit of background of what this 4 accumulations of the 12 wisdoms means. So we're going to take 4 accumulations of 4 very special kinds of thinking that create very special kinds of karma that help us to accumulate the wisdom that we as Buddhist practitioners want to accumulate. Now, we've heard this thing about what is the practice of the Buddha path. It's the practice of the uniting of wisdom and skillful means. Well, wisdom is wisdom, right? We all know what wisdom is. Wisdom is knowing that I am single present moment thinking. It's the wisdom of knowing my nature is Buddha, and the wisdom of knowing karma, the natural law of cause and effect, and that it's infallible. That's wisdom. But we don't just arrive having that. No, we have a history, a habit of doing some ego clinging, which causes a little bit of obscuration, is what we call it, causes some obscurations to knowing those 3 things. And that's called ignorance. We are ignoring the wisdom that is our birthright. We're ignoring it, ignorance. And so wisdom, where wisdom and skillful means come in, the skillful means are the positive thinkings: renunciation, compassion, faith, love, and wisdom. That is so cool. Whenever you are practicing those skillful means of renunciation, compassion, faith, love, you are automatically uniting with wisdom. That's what it means to practice positive thinking. So this practice of the 4 accumulations of the 12 wisdoms is a practice of positive thinking. This is how you practice positive thinking. Right here, I'm going to give you the tools that you need to actually bring positive thinking into your life. Even if you just landed here from Mars, you have no idea how to do that, we're going to start a practice here that you can do. Maybe you don't, maybe you've heard the teachings on the 5 positive thinkings many times, and maybe you think to yourself, that's all very well and good, but that's just not how it's working in my life. Well, here I'm going to give you some tools where you can actually say, okay, now I'm going to do this practice. I'm going to practice these positive thinkings. Sound good? Okay. All right. So we're going to I'm going to give you the overview first. We're going to be practicing self-confidence, discipline, gloriousness, and enlightenment. These are also known as faith, love. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. Faith, renunciation, love, and compassion. Now, those are a slightly different order from renunciation, compassion, faith, and love, right? You'll notice that right away. This is a very special technique that we're going to use to get these positive thinkings even more deeply within us. And you'll see this as we go along. This is why this is a perfect subject matter for like a weekend workshop or something. So, but we're gonna split them up. We're gonna just go one by one. Now, why the 12 wisdoms? Because what we're going to do is we're going to take these 4 accumulations of self-confidence, discipline, gloriousness, and enlightenment, and we're going to times the 3 times, past, present, and future. So 4 times 3 equals 12. So you're going to get 12 wisdoms, the wisdom of self-confidence in the past, present, and future, discipline, past, present, and future, etc. So that's where we get the 12 wisdoms. All right. So as I said, these are 4 very special kinds of karma that we want to accumulate. I mean, who doesn't want to have self-confidence? The image that comes to mind for me is Rinpoche has often told me, since I've known him past 20 years, walk like an elephant. That's very good advice for somebody who started out very flighty and kind of, all over the place and kind of a little bit, walk like an elephant. An elephant really makes an imprint in life. An elephant isn't going to easily tip over or be blown away by the first bully that comes along. An elephant is very confident enough to just storm through whatever. And where that comes from, that dignity, comes from their girth and their size. Well, like that, we want to develop some self-confidence. We want to be able to hold our heads up high. This is the most important thing that we're going to start with. And as Buddhists, we do not want to portray to the world a feeling of less than or self-degradation or lack of self-respect. That's the worst thing that we could project. I mean, we want people to look our way and say, I want what she has. I want that self-confidence. I want that happiness. I want that fill in the blank. I want that kindness. We want to embody these qualities and encourage others to practice these qualities as well. So we're going to start with self-confidence. Now, one of the things you can do is you can get yourself, what I do with my little journal. I have all these little journals sitting around here, and then when I want to show you one, it just disappeared. All right, well, those little journals, you can just get a little paper journal, or you can use your computer and take notes. But this is a very interactive process that you're going to sit down, you're going to set aside some quiet time for yourself. This could be done in a tun. We've talked about tuns before, where you do a practice session. You can take a vow and say, I will not leave this cushion until I do my 4 accumulations practice. And you could do this every day. You could do it once a week. You could do it just till it feels good. You feel better. You could do it. You can customize, in other words. This is not a rigid kind of a practice. This is something that you can customize. And what I really like about this, I'm writing a paper right now about how to practice Buddhism for addicts and alcoholics and families of addicts and alcoholics. And I've been thinking about this subject matter a lot, which is what brought me to this topic today. This is like that answered, like the 12 steps, you could say, in a way. You can do this practice to overcome those kinds of obstacles that you have. Because let's face it, we have a bad habit, or you could call it an addiction, to criticize ourselves, to practice self-denigration and self-degradation, and to practice just basically that voice that's going on all day, how lousy I'm doing, how bad I'm doing. I'm not measuring up. I'm not doing it well enough. I'm failing at this thing called life. So we're going to first start with the accumulation of self-confidence. You can also call this faith meditation. We're going to start with faith. Now, who can tell me what faith is? A basic working definition. Just unmute and go ahead. Shout it out there. Before I call on somebody. Okay, good, Will. Go for it.
Our own positive thinking.
Say it again.
Our own positive thinking.
Well, faith is actually liking and trusting your own positive thinking. Yeah, good. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. We're not going to start with renunciation, which is not liking our negative thinking. No, we're very purposely going to start with liking our positive thinking. This is going to give us a springboard to move through the other positive thinkings in a very logical, rational, very effective way. So we have to remember here that cold pride, which is what this faith meditation is going to antidote, it's a lie. It's a story that we tell ourselves. It's based on meditating on our mistakes. It's based on going to bed at night and lying there and thinking, oh, I did that wrong, I did that wrong, I did that wrong. And maybe even we've internalized the voice of a parent or a grandparent or a sibling or a teacher or somebody who did us wrong. They told us we were bad, and we really were not. We were just made a mistake. And then we take that and we run with it. We just meditate on those mistakes. And we ignore, what do we ignore? We ignore the virtuous things we've done. We ignore the good things that we've done. And when we ignore those things and we focus on the bad things we've done, maybe we have really done some bad things. That's okay. But it's the fact of meditating rather than purifying them. We just meditate on what we've done. That is going to accumulate the karma of self-deprecation, of insecurity, of thinking that we're bad, of being a coward and being a target for bullies, all of these things that we recognize as detrimental in our lives. So you're going to get cold pride from that process. That's just a given. You're going to get cold pride. And anybody here not ever have suffered from cold pride? I mean, I've never met anybody who, we have to learn to be properly proud. We have to learn to be, the Buddhist word is humble. Humble means to be exactly where we are. No, not less than, and not hot pride where we think we're greater than we are. No, we want to be just as we are. We want to be who we are. We want to be who we are. So this faith meditation is going to be that antidote to the cold pride, to repeating, I'm so bad, my mistake, I made so many mistakes, I can't get out of this. All right, there are 3 kinds of wisdom relating to deleting the karma of self-deprecation and cold pride. And we want to develop these 3 wisdoms. The first one is going to be the wisdom of knowing that in the past, I have done good things. In the past, I have done good things. Okay, notice this is the opposite of ignorance. This is wisdom, because ignorance would ignore those good things that I've done. Very easy just to move on to the next thing and ignore that good things that I've done without rejoicing in myself. That would be ignorance. Okay, so now, how do we know? This is really important. This is a subset of this teaching, but I want to make sure we cover this. How do we know that what we've done is good? that what we're about to do is good. How do we know? Well, we have some measuring sticks we can use. We can use the 8 benefits, for example. We can ask ourselves, is it good for my body and my mind? Is it good for me and for others? Is it good now and in the future? Is it good for here and everywhere, here and distant areas? Okay. So that is one measurement we can do. If we're wondering whether, now we want to, that's more for like deciding before you do something. We don't necessarily measure things we've done in the past, because sometimes we get results that we aren't intended, or that are not, are really our fault. So you really want to look at what your intention was. This is for measuring your intention, not necessarily whether a thing was good or bad. The result can be sometimes it always is up to cause and condition both, right? Okay. Secondly, we can look at body, speech, and mind. Body, speech, and mind. What makes something good? An action, something done by the body, an action is good if it is the physical manifestation of positive thinking. That's how you know if it's good. Speech is good when it's the verbal expression of positive thinking. The verbal expression of positive thinking. And thinking is good when it's a mental choice, a choice to respond to anything we do with renunciation, compassion, faith, love, or wisdom. That's how you know your thinking is good. Okay, and then let's look at this. When we look at whether something is good or not, we want to always look at cause and condition. So we don't ever just consider cause or just consider condition. It's like this. We don't think that something's good if it's not good for me and others. If it's not good for me, then it's not good. If it's not good for others, then it's not good. So some of us have a tendency to always look at our own self, and some of us have a tendency to always think about others first, but neither one is right. We don't sacrifice ourselves and we don't sacrifice others. So it has to work for both cause and condition, self and others. That is really important. That is one thing about Buddhist thinking that really is different from a lot of thinking. We have this dual benefit. It always, good always has to include the dual benefit. And so make sure again that you're thinking about intention, not the result when you're judging something good. So the example would be, let's say you give money to a homeless person. The result looks like generosity, but you might be thinking, oh, that son of a bitch, he's going to spend it on drugs. I really hate that. I wish he would just go away. You might have really negative intention. That is not going to work. That is not a good result. That actually is a result that is creating more negativity for you and for the other person. So we always want to focus on intention. And a counter example is, you may have the best of intentions, invite somebody over for dinner, and the person isn't that happy, doesn't like it, is kind of critical. You should never judge what you did to offer generosity, to cook and clean and do everything you did, and judge it based on the person's reaction, right? That is that person's karma. I mean, you also have a little bit of negative karma if you were witnessing that. But the point is that you would never say, "Oh, I did a bad thing because that person didn't like it." No, if you had really clear, good intention, that is what matters most. So we try not to get so focused on the results. All right, so that's how to sort out what is good. Okay, so if we're going to look at the things in the past that I have done that are good, we can use all of these criteria. But really, if you really look in your heart of hearts, you know when you've done something good. most of us know we've done something good. If we really have to, fish around for that, it's probably not the best thing. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to take your little notebook and you're going to start a page that says the first wisdom, or you can call it faith meditation, and things that I've done well in the past, good things, virtuous things I've done in the past. And you just start to make a list. Now, easy, not easy? Try it. The first time I did this, I was stumped. I couldn't think of anything I'd done good in the past. Now, of course, I'm practiced at it. I can do that. And I have my list because I wrote it down and I can always look at it, which is the one reason we're going to write it down. But, eventually I came up with some things. So the point is, this might be hard, it might be easy, but we need to persevere at it, because the more good things we can think of that we've done in the past, the better we can encourage ourselves, and we eventually want to get to that place where we can know that we're doing good things in the present, and we practice by looking at the past. In fact, we look at the past and we say, yeah, I've done those good things. That's very encouraging to me. Okay, let's look at the second wisdom. And then I'm going to give you the practice that we do. It's very simple. Okay, the second wisdom is the wisdom of knowing that right now I can see good is good, and I rejoice in the good things I'm doing or seeing. I may not have read the first one. Yeah, I did. The first wisdom is the wisdom of knowing that in the past I have done good things. The second wisdom is the wisdom of knowing that right now I can see good is good, and I rejoice in good things. And then the third wisdom is the wisdom of knowing in the future I will do more good things. Now, here's the thing. Ignoring only happens in the present. You can't ignore in the future, and you can't ignore in the past. So the wisdom is really going to, in a lot of ways, come from what we can do in the present, noticing the good things around us right now. Now, we're going to practice that by looking at the past and looking at the future. Okay, now I'm going to give you the practice. There's some very simple statements that you can take down. You can put this right into your notebook, your 12 Wisdoms notebook. So the mantra of self, okay, first, let's do the first one. I rejoice that I did good things in the past. I rejoice that I did good things in the past. Second, I am grateful that I am doing good things now. I am grateful that I'm doing good things now. Third, I promise that I will do good things in the future. And you can make this your own language. If you prefer the word virtuous, or if you have some other terminology you'd like to use, go for it. And then finally, we end with a supplication. Buddha, please bless me to do more good things. Buddha, please bless me to do more good things. So I'll say them again. I rejoice that I did good things in the past. I am grateful that I'm doing good things now. I promise that I will do good things in the future. Buddha, please bless me to do more good things. And then there's a mantra, and you can actually practice this. You can actually take your mala and you can actually practice one by one. And the mantra is, I can do that. 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 No fancy terminology here. Plain English. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. So what I recommend, that's the whole practice right there. And we're going to do this for each of the other wisdoms. And it's super simple. It's super easy to do. You can develop your own variations on this. You can do it, as I said before, in a weekly practice or daily practice. There are people that do gratitude journals. This is something you could do like that style, where you keep a journal about all the grateful things you are grateful for that you have done. But at this stage, we keep it personal. It's about what you have done. We're actively trying to encourage ourselves. We'll move on to others later at another date. And the other thing is, this is a really great antidote to use if you find yourself in a period of self-criticism, or you're feeling you're really lacking in energy or confidence, when you're down, or you notice that you're getting bullied, or things aren't really going as well as they should or they could. This is a really great way to antidote your own thinking, because no matter what it looks like that we're perceiving on the outside, for instance, it looks like somebody's bullying me, or looks like I'm not, getting the praise I need or whatever, it's all going to be according to our own cause. It's according to our own thinking. So the quickest way to nip those kinds of problems and obstacles in the bud is to change our own thinking. So if we are feeling that others around us are too critical of us, or all we have to do is to change our own thinking, and we can watch that condition subside and eventually be completely done. All right, I'm gonna pause and see if anybody has any questions about anything we've said so far. I'm wondering, has anybody done this practice before? No? Carrie, you have? Oh, good. Did it work for you? Will has done it too. That's great.
Yeah, I think it works. Though I wished I had done it for a longer period of time. I think it would have been maybe even do it, not ever stop really doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the best thing to do.
Well, maybe there's a reason you're here today. Maybe it's time for you to get back to that practice. And I like that idea. Maybe not ever stop doing it. Yes, that's exactly the idea. That's what we're going for. Eventually, maybe we don't need pen and paper or a computer file or notes on our phone. Maybe eventually we're just noticing real time that we're doing good things. And actually, I can tell you, because I have practiced this a lot, and I really needed this practice a lot. And I can tell you that after a while, it does become second nature, and you do start to appreciate yourself more. You start to recognize that we're always doing good things. There's so many ways to do good things, even simple, tiny, simple little things. We talk about these days doing random acts of kindness. Those are the ones that are even more blown up. I'm talking about tiny little things, like just saying to yourself, oh, I'm so happy that so-and-so is happy. Or when you think of somebody and you think about how much you love them, or just thinking about a friend and wishing them happiness. Those are tiny little acts of virtuous acts. So remember, there's body, speech, and mind. We don't have to do outward stuff like, offer somebody a gift. You could just think, may they be happy. May they have happiness, the causes of happiness. Anybody else have any experience with this they want to share? Go ahead, Will.
Well, it was interesting that Lam Eric offered this right after the miracle retreat. and they have the same mantra of I can do it. So
this is Rinpoche's teaching. It's the same mantra because we got this from him. We all got this same teaching.
I mean, in the miracle retreat, we've been like thinking, I can do it, like for a month. Right? So, and then immediately after that, I heard this, so it was like just reinforce it. Like,
oh, I see. Okay. Now I think I understand what you're saying. You heard that mantra while we were practicing during the miracle retreat.
Yeah.
That's great. I didn't make that association. That's really wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to ask: are they like similar or like different?
Same, similar.
So I can just think both. Like when I can do it. I can think.
Yeah, I can do that. That is the mantra of self-confidence. So whenever you say I can do that, well, what's the alternative? If you didn't say I can do that, what might you say instead?
I just mean when I think I can do it, I can think self-confidence and miracle, right?
Yeah, miracle is just another end of the spectrum of self-confidence. But I do want to know, what would you think if you didn't think I could do that? What might you say to yourself instead?
I don't know.
I can't do that. Miracle? Me? No. So you see, it's just one spectrum. Some of us need to know I can do that at the level of something mundane, like not cursing for a day, or who knows what, or not killing flies. I don't know. And others of us are working on grander possibilities, like curing cancer or healing people by laying our hands on, or something like that. Things that we would consider miracles, right? But they're just this, it's one spectrum. It's just more practice. So yeah, the mantra, the miracle mantra, I can do that. And the miracle, or the mantra of faith or self-confidence, yes, those are the same mantra. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to remember one instance of positive thinking. One positive thinking is one step toward Buddha. So it's all just one road, one path. All right, did anybody else want to say anything? Sophia, did you raise your hand? Thank you, Will.
Oh, and thank you, Lama Carrie. Our Vancouver group, actually, we have a group of us, 7 of us. We actually do it using the WeChat platform, doing the rejoicing and great gratitude. Mm-hmm. And each and every one of us take one day. And we have been doing it for, I think, a couple of months or something like that. And I tell you, it's very powerful, and is another means. Of course, doing it on our own is good. It's very good. And yes, that is really our practice, right? But I think Kempo also emphasized self-practice is a must. It's like air and food and water. Yes. But I think group practice is like a booster. I don't know. And I think it's the interdependence, right? It actually reinforces. Yes. And I found it over time it comes a lot more natural. And then it helps one another.
Yes,
then,
I think that is a really important point. You do want support for a practice like this, of course. And that's great. If you have some close Sangha that you can do this practice with, maybe you can have one other close Sangha, and you can say, will you remind me when I do something good to rejoice in myself, and I'll remind you. That's a wonderful way to support one another. Or a group chat like what you have. That's great. That's great. Wonderful. Thank you. Brian, did you want to say something?
I had a question that something went by me a little too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that the accumulating self-confidence was faith, and I think discipline was renunciation, and I didn't get what gloriousness and enlightenment were related to.
Gloriousness is love, and enlightenment is related to compassion.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So there's a theme. You'll see the theme. We're going to start with the positive self, then to negative self, and then we're going to go to positive others and negative others. So the next one is accumulation of discipline is about recognizing when we do non-virtuous things, recognizing when we do negative things. But we don't start there. It's super important not to start there. I cannot emphasize this enough. We already do this a lot, way more than you might think. And it's very easy for us to get down on ourselves and to just repeat. But we want to do it in a way that it's beneficial, in a way that allows us to purify what is wrong instead of just to repeat it. Because if you just repeat to yourself, oh, I did that, I did that, I did that, and never purify it, never forgive yourself, that is a wrong practice. That's going to lead to a lot of cold pride. And we already have too much of that in our culture. So I think that answered that question. Anybody else have anything? Okay, that is what I had prepared for today. Wow, I didn't realize it was going to be so short. So if there's anything else that you want to ask, please go right ahead. If anybody has anything that they want to bring up, or and if not, go ahead, Karen.
This is a totally different topic. I'm not sure if it's appropriate to bring up here, though, now that I think about it.
Well,
you know,
I'll let you know if it is or it isn't.
Okay, the refuge vow follows you from lifetime to lifetime. That's my understanding.
Refuge vow, did you say?
Yeah,
yes.
When you take refuge,
yes.
That goes with you. Does the bodhicitta vow also go with you?
Ah, that is a good question. It does, but not just until you become Buddha, but until all beings become Buddha. So it's longer. The refuge vow goes with you until you become Buddha, lifetime to lifetime until you become Buddha. But the bodhisattva vow, you keep it until all beings become Buddha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question, because that just so cool. Yeah. Did you retake the bodhisattva vow last week? That's great. That's awesome. All right, and just if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, we take the refuge vow. That's our preliminary vow, and then the next step is to bodhisattva vow, and it's a very beautiful ceremony. And it was just practiced. Unfortunately, I was on vacation, but everybody got to renew, and we renew both of those main vows every year formally. And what passes for formally right now is on Zoom because we can't get together. So, question, Will?
Yeah. So how does this four accumulation of 12 wisdom relate to 2 accumulations and the 2 obscurations?
Only in the word accumulation. An accumulation is just repeating something, and we gather. This is the thing that I think many people are really not, don't realize, that our thinking is powerful. What makes our thinking powerful is the fact that we can accumulate, that when we repeat, whatever we repeat, we get, basically. We like to say no repeat, no results. So the corollary of that is what you repeat is the result you're going to get. So it's really important to ask ourselves, what are we repeating? Are we repeating something positive, or are we repeating something negative? Do you ever stop and think to yourself, wow, I've been really thinking this one thought recently? And it takes a while for us to recognize what we're repeating. And when we do recognize, it's usually because it's accumulated and ripened into a feeling. Because remember, feeling is strong thinking. Feeling is thinking that we have repeated, we've accumulated. So by the time we feel angry, let's say, we've already repeated many, many angry thoughts. And we've repeated it enough that it's going to ripen as the feeling of anger. And, you know, the feelings in our body, hot or, you know, red or, you know, whatever you get when you're angry. So that's what they have in common.
I'm talking about the accumulation of merit and wisdom.
Yeah, and I'm talking about that too. Accumulation of merit is accumulating positive thinking. Accumulation of wisdom is accumulating wisdom. And there's no other practice. We don't have any other practices besides the practice of positive thinking. So yes, it is related. And so this specific practice will, of course, is a practice of accumulating merit and wisdom. Yes, 100% it is. You can be sure of that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the answer in a more positive way for you.
How about the two obscurations?
The two obscurations, yeah. The two obscurations are what we are antidoting with the two accumulations. So, so those are the accumulations of negative thinking. And the accumulation of ignorance is an accumulation of ignoring the wisdom that I am single present moment thinking, my nature is Buddha, and cause and effect. The nature, karma, cause and effect is infallible. So when we repeatedly ignore that by doing all the things that we do and thinking all the things that we think, we accumulate ignorance, and that acts as obscuration to our wisdom. So yes, they're very, very much related. And so this practice is also an antidote to those two accumulations of ignorance. Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah. Okay, anything else? Anything else? All right, looks like we're just going to stop a little bit early today and bring your questions next week for the accumulation of discipline. And I would like to assign some homework, and that is to do the practice actually. And then looks like we might have some time to discuss if anybody has any interesting experiences. It's so fascinating to do these practices because they're so practical that you will immediately get something happening. I guarantee something will happen if you do the practice. Now, if you don't do it and nothing happens, well, you can't blame the practice. So do it if you want to get some experience. I recommend it. And we'll talk next week about what people have experienced. I think that'll be very interesting. All right, let us do the immeasurable light of certainty. In all universes, there is only one. Truth is Buddha Shakyamuni. I don't know why I can't do this today. In all universes, there is only one truth. It is Dharma. Buddha Shakyamuni is perfect. In all universes, there is only one truth. It is Dharma. Buddha Shakyamuni is perfect. In all universes, there is only one truth. It is Dharma. Buddha Shakyamuni is perfect. One original ground, Buddha nature, one pure intention, bodhicitta, one supreme path. Dzogchen, one absolute result, Buddha. Within Dzogchen, all Buddhist teachings are here and assembled, hereby revealed, taught to this end. Maho. All right, I can do that. You see, I can do that. It's just a matter of saying I can do that. And this is that was just such a perfect example of today. Like, where do we go immediately? I mean, that just popped right out of my mouth. Why? Because I've said it to myself a gazillion, million, zillion times. And so if you are tempted to think that you don't have this problem, just check. Just check. All right, everyone. Let us dedicate. Namo Buddhaya. For the true happiness of all beings, I will swiftly become Buddha in this very life. Therefore, just as all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas dedicate. I joyfully dedicate all merit for every being to attain unsurpassable enlightenment. May all my dedications be pure, like the wisdom of Manjushri. May all my dedications be fulfilled, like the aspirations of Samantha. Zaya, Zaya, Sudzaya. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Take good
Thank you so
care.
much, Lama Carrie. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you so much, Lama
Thank you, Lama
Carrie.
Carrie.
New thoughts.
Thank you, Lama Carrie. Thank you so much. Need to work harder. Usually I forgot.
Rejoice.